Okay, this is going to be I don't know if you can hear me or not, but this is going to be part 3 of my other video. I had to try it on my laptop. But yeah, it was like this monkey that had went in like this village and started picking up these dog puppies and throwing it off of a cliff, like just killing each dog. I think it killed over 100 dogs because I think her baby monkey had ended up dead, and one of the dogs was the cause of it. And that monkey went back and got revenge and killed those puppies. And the McKelty Williams guy, was a guy that played in a lot of movies. You might have seen him in Forrest Gump as Bubba, that talks about all kinds of shrimp, like chicken shrimp, pork shrimp, banana shrimp, I don't know. But he taught it about all kinds of shrimp. And he was on the Celebrity Ghost Stories episode. He was telling about his friend named Adrian, and he had said that his friend had ended up getting killed. And I think like a day later after he got killed, I think he ended up getting a call. He was at home, him and his girlfriend were eating dinner at nighttime, and he ended up getting a call on the phone. But his girlfriend had answered the phone at first. And the way her face looked when she would answer the phone, she was like like a surprise shocked look. Like she, like how it shows like when a cartoon gets like scared. Like that's how she looked it. And he looked it up better, and she was, telling him like the phone is for you, and then he was like asking her who was it, and she says Adrian. But he thought it was a big old joke. He thought somebody was playing a joke with him because he knew his friend was dead. So he was thinking to himself like, I don't got time for no jokes or anything. Why when he answered the phone, it was actually his friend Adrian. The voice said everything. And he said he knew that was his friend because his friend was the only one that called on Mike. Like he said, Mike, you got to help me and stuff like that. Then he said on top of his friend screaming out for help, he had heard like a big fire in the background. Like a crackling fire sound. If you can hear it, it's like this sound. It sounded like a huge fireplace. And his friend was screaming for help. And he just didn't know what to do. He was asking him where he was at and everything. Like, Mike, you're the only one who can help me. And that story just brought chills down my spine. Because basically what he was trying to say is that his friend was calling him from hell. And whether you believe in it or not, I in fact know that hell and heaven is real. There's people out there who don't believe that it's real. But I know for one that it's real. I've seen a lot of hell testimonies, and I remember I had like this strange dream too. I'm gonna throw it in here. I had like a strange dream where I was like laying on something. It was like I was just laying on the bed like I regularly do to go to sleep. And it was like I was getting rode. Like imagine being on like a wagon and you getting rode in that wagon. I was like getting rode through different curtains. It was like these huge curtains, like these big wide curtains, like probably as tall as the house or probably taller than the house. And these curtains is just like you getting rode like through these curtains, like like curtains just opening back and forth, different curtains. And it was this red curtain. And I know that red curtain, it was like this crimson red curtain. Like silky satin material crimson red curtain that that I know for a fact symbolizes fire. It symbolizes hell, it symbolizes fire to me because I kind of had saw flames. It kind of resembled flames, but it was a little bit wavy when I was like moving towards that curtain. And then out of nowhere, it was like this demon baby, like just this demon looking baby with sharp teeth just jumped on my arm and was just gnawing on it. And yeah, that was a creepy dream. That ain't the only creepy dream I had, but that is one of the creepiest dreams that I had so far. I don't know what that dream means, but it's definitely something demonic. That's all I can say. There was some TikTok video where some folks could be like sitting in their house. It's very similar to like the mimic one that I told you about how like it was this woman She was sitting with her kid in a room, and she had two boys, I guess, two sons, and one was older than the other little boy. And she said she let her other son go to his friend's house, and it was nighttime, and she was in her bedroom with her younger son. Tell me why she had heard some knocking at that bedroom door, and it was her older son. Like he was still there at the house, and he was just, knocking on the door like, Mom, let me in. Mom, hello. And she was just, confused because he was supposed to be at his friend's house. He like, Mom, let me in. And the younger brother was kept trying to get up and trying to answer the door because he could hear clearly that it's his brother. He could hear clearly, like with his ears, that his brother on the other side of the door. But his mom was snatching him back because she knew that was not her son. Like a mother knows. She knows that was not her baby, her child on the other side of the door. And she was not going to even attempt to open up that door. And I don't blame her. But she was just hearing that, like, Mom, let me in. And he was also wiggling the doorknob to get in too. That was like something that would bring chills down my spine. Also, was another story about this guy telling something about that was like paranormal that had to do with him going on this road called the Seven Church Road, and it takes place, I think, in Georgia somewhere, Albany, Georgia, I think. For people who lives in Georgia, you probably have heard about this, but I heard about it on TikTok, and it was a guy that said he rode with his friends like some years back. He said when he rode on that road, he said like strange things happens, like people be having strange, weird, odd, creepy experiences when they go on this road. And he said he went on this road with his friends, like to see what would happen, cause they claim that it's like, I think like two churches is on that road. I don't exactly know. I'm trying to remember back to when I watched the video. And they claim that, like, okay, 7 churches. It'll be like 5 more churches popping up. It'll be, I think, already 2 churches already out there, and like 5 more churches will appear, and out of nowhere. And I think it has to do with like paranormal stuff. And they claim that folks have one time seen like apparitions out there, like ghosts and stuff like that out there. And they also have seen a Bible out there. And some folks said that they tried to pick up that Bible, and that Bible would get heavier when they tried to pick it up or something. Like strange things just happen out there, and phenomenons and all that stuff like that. I don't care. I do not care. But I have to say it. Every single alien movie creeps me out. I do not like alien. I do like a little zombie movies, but alien movies, no. I do not like it. It's just, it creeps me out, brings chills down my spines. I do not like alien movies, and I'll tell you why. It's a few list of alien movies that I just completely hate. I can name a good amount. The Thing, this movie called Slither, Species, freaking, what's it called? Then Evil, I think that's an alien movie. Like all those alien movies, and Alien itself, I do not like it. I hate it. It brings chills down my spine. It just looks creepy. Like, it's just really creepy. There was one alien movie, I think it was Alien. That old movie way back in the late 70s, I think, or the early 80s. But you guys may know what I'm talking about. But on that movie, it was like this guy, I think it was an alien guy. He had like his head chopped off, like clean off. But he was still alive. And it was like this white stuff coming out his mouth. I think it's supposed to represent blood. Like, I guess his blood looked different from human blood. He had like white blood. And it was like coming out of his mouth. And it resembled milk. Like, it resembled milk. And me, a person that likes milk, I quit drinking milk for a while. Probably a month. I quit drinking it for a while after I had seen that on that movie. That was just plain out gross. That was disgusting. I could not finish off I couldn't finish off watching it, for one. It was just too creepy. That's the reason why I hate alien movies. I don't like it at all. And it's like this trend going around. I don't know if I'll call it a trend, but like this thing on TikTok where it's showing like that saxophone sound that you hear in like movies like Boys in the Hood. I think that's the only movie I heard it on. But boy, I tell you, when I was a kid and I first seen that movie, that high pitch, like as the saxophone sound grew, it's almost like it resembles or symbolic to someone's nerves building up, your heart throbbing really fast, anxiety, like you can feel like something bad is going to happen. That's what I guess it's supposed to resembles, like the saxophone sound. And I'm a person who likes the sound of saxophones. It's one of my favorite type of instruments. Beside trumpets, I just like to hear the sound of it. It's like a beautiful instrument sound. Along with violins too and pianos, it's just really beautiful. But this sound right here, I'm trying to play it. That's the sound. Imagine just walking down the street at nighttime and then you out of nowhere hear that sound. Would you A, walk just casually like you can't hear it? Or would you B, run as fast as you can, let the back of you get more tinier and tinier till you make it into the house? I think I'll pick B. Just imagine just hearing that out of nowhere and you can feel something bad going to happen. But yes, it's like that type of videos that I've been coming across where folks just put that saxophone sound up there. But you know what? That sound is also hunting too for us ones who remember that particular movie. And now imagine like like years ago. This is also a story that I had created it too. I had shared another story about the Kool-Aid incident in my other video, but this last story that I'm gonna share is called "The Choice Was Yours," and it was a story that I had made up when I was a really small kid. I'm grown now, but I had made it up when I was a small kid, and it was about this character, and this character, his name was can't really think of his name. It was a long time ago when I came up with this story, but I do remember the story though. And he was like, he became a part of this gang right along with his friend. And it was like these gang of older boys. Like, they ain't the only younger boys that wanted to follow behind these older boys. I know the gang's leader his name was Big 16. And so it happens the reason why they call him 16 is because throughout his life he had allegedly taken 16 lives of like his enemies, his foes. And he wanted to teach these young boys of how to grow up to be cold-blooded killer just like he is, grow up to be cold-blooded just like he is. And the main character along with his friend and many other younger boys, they got into this game. And they had to also do more things while getting into this game. And they had to take part in the killing of this girl who Big 16 liked it. His real name is Savion, but they call him 16. People who know him in the streets, Big 16. And this was like in the early 1980s. I'll say like 1982. And this girl that he liked he had like a crush on her, but she wasn't paying him any mind. He came across her in a convenience store asking for her phone number. She kept telling him that she has a boyfriend, and he was like, well, I never asked you, did you have a boyfriend? I asked you for your number. But she was still brushing him off. But she ended up giving in to him, saying like, okay, how about you come over my place and we hang out and this and that, nothing more than that. And she went right along with it, which was her big mistake. He made a big mistake going to his house because he trapped her over there. He had took her to his bedroom, showing off all of the nice things he had in there, lava lamps, all that expensive stuff. Reason why is because 16 was not only a gang member, he also did other things out on the streets that had him making fast money and all of that. And he was just showing his stuff off. And he also had like this water bed too, and they sat down on it, and he was trying to seduce this girl, and this girl was not going for it. She pushed him off of her and was about to leave out of this room, but he ended up trapping her in there. He assaulted her, ended up trapping her in there, and he ended up getting the other boys to come in there and like take part in her killing, like take part in her death. And the main character also took part in doing things. He had to finish her off. He was forced to do it, and he didn't want to. And after uh, M wording this girl, um, taking her off of the face of this earth, they end up getting rid of her body and everything. But after that had happened, they end up burying her at like a park at a specific area, like a secluded area, not too far from the park. And this girl had like a younger sister. And the younger sister, right along with the mother and the rest of the family, they were trying to figure out what the heck happened to her. So she just disappeared, and her death, her case had went cold like through the years. And it was like years later, like the main character, he ended up coming across the younger sister. They were all grown up. Ended up coming across the younger sister, ended up starting to date the younger sister. The younger sister already had a child of her own and everything, but she still like kept pictures of her older sister in her house. And it's like this deep guilt feeling had been on this main character, like he just couldn't shake this feeling off of him. And the reason why is because he knew he had took part in that girl's death years back in 1982. And he ended up coming out to the younger sister that he, right along with Big 16 and the rest of them, they had you know took out her sister. And she went off, she snapped it. She went off, she snapped it. Of course, she didn't want to have nothing to do with him no more. And she also made sure that, he ended up turning his own self in too. He wanted to let her know. Of course, she didn't want to have nothing to do with him no more. He ended up turning his own self in. Right along with 16 and the rest of them. 16 didn't get caught because 16 ended up getting taken off of the face of this earth himself. He ended up coming back to him. He took lives. His life ended up getting taken. Because it's in the Bible anyway. And some of the members also had passed away too. That gang life and stuff had ended up catching up with them. So yeah, that's how that story ended. The choice was yours. That story that I had made when I was younger. I did named it, something else, like Children in the Corner, but it sounded very similar to the movie Children in the Cornfield, so I ended up changing the whole title to The Choice Was Yours. And yeah, there was a little creepy story that I came up with. And I hope you all have a great day. This is the gonna be the end of the video, and yeah, have a blessed day. And if God's will, there'll be more creepy, eerie, hard to explain stuff that I'll be talking about.